You have a type. You may not call it that, but if you look at the people you have been most seized by, not just attracted to, but genuinely stopped, they share something. Not the same face, not the same personality, something underneath. Something so consistent that if you saw it written down, it would be almost unsettling. That consistency is not bad luck. It is not a coincidence. It is a blueprint, and it was built in you long before you met any of them. Jung called this the Anima in men and the Animus in women, the inner image of the opposite sex that lives in your unconscious, specific, and fully formed. By the end of this video, you will understand why the people you have been most certain about have followed the same arc, and what that arc is actually showing you about yourself. Most people approach the fact of their romantic patterns as a mystery, a series of coincidences, bad luck, wrong choices. But the pattern has a structure, and the structure is consistent. You are drawn to people who carry a specific quality. Maybe it is a kind of distance that makes you work harder. Maybe it is a self-sufficiency that both attracts and threatens you. Maybe it is a particular quality of intensity or warmth or intelligence. The variations on the surface can be enormous. The thing underneath is the same. You are not attracted to people at random. You are attracted to people who match a template. And that template was built in you long before you met any of them. Every person carries, alongside their conscious personality, what Jung called a contrasexual figure, a living image of the other sex, built from the raw material of earliest experience. The first and most foundational contribution comes from the parent of the opposite sex. Not the whole person, but the quality of that person as experienced by a child. Their warmth or their distance, their presence or their absence, the way they made you feel when they turned toward you. And when they turned away, this becomes the seed of the inner image. On top of that, every significant encounter with the opposite sex adds a layer. Every relationship that left its mark, every person who made you feel something you couldn't quite understand. The image becomes more detailed, more specific, more vivid. And beneath all of that, there is a deeper layer, one that no single person's history fully explains. The Anima and the Animus have an archetypal dimension. They carry something older than any individual life. This image lives in you, not as an idea, as a presence, appearing in dreams as a specific figure, shaping what you notice in a room full of people, directing your attention before your conscious mind has had a chance to decide anything. Here is what most people never see. The more intense the initial pull, the more certain you feel, the more it seems like fate, the more likely it is that you are not seeing the other person at all. You are seeing the projection, the inner image, placed over a real human being like a transparency. The projection does not need much to go on. A quality of voice, the way someone moves through a room, something they said. The inner image recognizes itself, or recognizes something close enough, and the response is immediate. This does not mean the other person is irrelevant. There is usually something genuine in them that sparked the recognition. But in those early stages, you are adding an enormous amount that they did not bring. You are filling in what you cannot see with the image you carry inside. This is why new love feels like recognition. Why certain strangers feel like home before you know anything about them. The familiarity is real, but it is a familiarity with something in you, not yet with the person standing in front of you. At some point, most projections begin to crack. The other person starts showing up differently than the image. They have moods the image did not have. They want things the image did not want. They are complicated and specific and contradictory in the ways that real people are, ways the projection never accommodated. Many people experience this as the other person changing, as having been deceived. You seemed like a completely different person when we first met. They did not seem like a different person. They were always themselves. You just were not seeing them yet. The image was. The disillusionment that follows is not evidence that the relationship was wrong. It is the end of projection. And it is the beginning of the possibility of something real, an actual encounter with the person, rather than with your inner figure wearing their face. This is where it becomes uncomfortable, because if you have left at this point, if you have ended relationships when the recognition faded, when the certainty dissolved, then you almost certainly took the projection with you, and in time, applied it to someone else. Same intensity, same certainty, same collapse, different body. Jung's observation was direct. A person who has not done the work of understanding their contrasexual figure will live out this pattern indefinitely. Not because they are unlucky in love, because they bring the same unconscious image to every new person they meet, and the dynamic plays out the same way. The pattern is not about the other people. It never was. The alternative is not to stop falling in love. It is to start recognizing what the projection is showing you about yourself. The qualities you find most charged in another person. The thing that stops you in your tracks, that feels almost unbearable in its pull. Those are not qualities you need to find in someone else. They are directions your own psyche is pointing toward, not asking you to possess them in a partner, asking you to develop them in yourself. The anima in a man carries his emotional life, his depth, his capacity for relatedness, his access to the inner world. When it is unconscious, he looks for these qualities in women, rather than developing them in himself. He falls in love with what he is not yet living. The animus in a woman carries her directedness, her capacity for decisive action, for holding conviction, for moving through the world with purpose. When it is unconscious, she looks for it in men. She falls for a particular quality of strength because it is her own unlived strength. Integration does not mean the attraction goes away. It means entering relationships from a different place, as a person who has begun to claim what the inner figure was carrying, not looking for completion in the other person, seeking connection. That is a different kind of love, slower to arrive, less electric, but it is not built on projection. There are 3 questions worth sitting with. The first, what quality in the person you have been most intensely drawn to felt most charged, most irresistible, or most threatening? That quality is the beginning of the map. It is showing you something about yourself that you have not yet claimed. The second, what feeling were you looking for in love? Not what you wanted from the other person, but the feeling you were trying to reach inside yourself. Trace it back. Where did you first feel that? With whom? The third, look across the significant relationships in your life. What quality was constant in the people you chose? What did all of them have, or all of them fail to have, in common? The pattern across the relationships is more revealing than any single one of them. These are not questions you answer once. They are questions you return to as you change, because the image evolves, and so does what you're able to see in it. Next week, we look at the structure that makes all of this necessary. The face you learned to show the world, and what had to be cut away to build it. This is the depth work.